The Run Lift Mom podcast is brought to you by my efforts as a Zaya Active independent representative and partners Hello Woofy for social media, Red H Nutrition, and Audible. Audible is the newest of this lineup, and if you want to try Audible free, all you've got to do is visit audibletrial.com/runliftmom.
Moms usually come to me when they're overwhelmed and they're tired and they're like, yo, Dee Dee, I got a to-do list. Like, how am I supposed to have more fun? And when they can connect with their pleasure, they usually find what I call that juice that helps them feel more nourished so that they can not necessarily do more, but feel more filled up instead of drained all the time.
Welcome to the Run Lift Mom podcast, where we're talking about running, lifting, and momming, not necessarily in that order. Today, we are going to be talking about something related to the momming category, but I'm going to need it be just for the moms. In over 130 episodes of Run Lift Mom, I've never said, hey, earmuffs for the little ones. I'm going to say it this time because I've got a pleasure coach on the show talking about how to live more joyful lives, both in and out of the bedroom. Dee Dee Haeg loves helping stressed out moms live more joyful lives, and she is fantastic. You guys, this is not all talking about the bedroom, but hey, we do go there. And we talk about principles of pleasure to include self-care, balance in life, as well as with your partner. So without further ado, again, earmuffs for the little ones, I give you Dee Dee Haeg. Thank you so much for listening to the Run Lift Mom podcast. I want to let you know that you can swipe up in the podcast player that you're in to see the show notes. That's going to take you to my website and you're going to get a deep dive on today's show. Cool, huh? You can think of it as a blog post that complements what was covered today with all of the links and resources discussed. Don't forget to check out the podcast partners as well with some really great offers for you. And until I get into your earpiece again, remember, for while bodily training is of some value, godliness is of value in every way, as it holds promise for the present life and also for the life to come. That's from 1 Timothy 4:8, and this has been the Run Lift Mom podcast. All right, welcome to the Run Lift Mom podcast. Dee Dee Haeg, I am so excited to have you. How are you today?
Oh, I'm fabulous. Thank you for asking. And you?
I am fantastic. And look, I have to tell the person that is listening, okay, listener, I know that sometimes you are listening and you've got the littles in the back of the car. This is not the episode for that. You need to either have me in your earpiece or maybe be listening in private, because we are going to talk about something a little bit racy today. Dee Dee, tell me what you do for a living and then a little bit about yourself.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I'm so happy that you gave that little disqualifier. I'm a pleasure coach, and I love helping mamas find more juice and joy in their life. And what that means is that I get to help them basically find more pleasure in or outside of the bedroom.
I love this. Okay. I love it. So, talk to me a little bit. Talk to me about out of the bedroom first. What do you mean?
Okay.
I mean, everybody's defining pleasure a little bit differently, right? So tell us a little bit about how you guide people to do that.
Yeah. So pleasure, let's start off real quick, like with a definition. What is pleasure, right? So for me, pleasure is anything that helps bring me more into my body, into more awareness of the present moment. And that usually brings some sort of elation with it. So pleasure is just what I like to call juice or joy. And I honestly help people find more pleasure outside of the bedroom as well. So let me give an example. So I am a huge coffee drinker. Are you?
Yes. Oh,
Okay,
I'm
great.
always highly caffeinated, Dee Dee. You are my people.
That's right. I have a feeling maybe many of the moms who are listening are too. So every morning I make my coffee, but one of the ways that I bring more pleasure to that is I ritualize it. And so what that means for me is I kind of go through my own little routine each morning where I warm up the water. I'm a French press kind of coffee kind of gal. And so I warm up the water. And as I'm warming up the water, I'm setting some intentions for the day. When I pour the coffee, I love the smell of coffee, like fresh coffee. Oh my goodness. I love that. I don't know about you, but, and so for me, as I create like this ritual, which drops me into my body and helps me really just take a moment to enjoy what I'm doing instead of just going through it and doing it on autopilot. Does that make sense?
Well, first of all, it occurs to me that sometimes we get so busy that we forget to notice some of the things in life as we're creating these rituals.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm such a huge fan for rituals, because what rituals do is they help us slow the beep down, right? Like beep, beep, beep. Okay, y'all, let's just take a deep breath and pause before we take our next action. And for me, when I can give myself that moment to pause, then I step out of the autopilot and then I can appreciate, just like you said, I can appreciate the moment and really appreciate and enjoy what I'm deciding to do next. And it really can be that simple.
It almost sounds like meditative to a degree.
It is. It is. And so one of the things, I'm a trained Kundalini yoga and meditation teacher. And so one of the biggest tools that I often give to my clients, Susie, is the power of their breath. We don't really realize what power we're holding by just consciously breathing. So what I love to teach my clients is the power of their breath and how they can slow down and make a more conscious choice by breathing deep. So let's just like practice that here for a moment together. All right. All you mamas who are listening, let's do this. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Now just hold the breath for a moment. Just hold it. And then release and let it go. Can you feel the difference?
I want to tell you, I think it's the first time that I've taken a breath like that in about a month. Shame on me.
No shaming. I'm not about shaming. No. You know what? But what it is it highlights the awareness. And I love that you just pointed that out because, again, we just get into that autopilot. And all we're doing, just like we're doing when we're working out, girl, is we're giving ourselves an opportunity to practice a new way of being. Right? So now that you know that you haven't been taking the deep breaths, so how can you go through your day now and give yourself that power of the pause with a deep breath? It only just takes one deep breath, right? And I'm going to teach like one of the little hacks that I love is I'll set my phone. I'll just set my phone to an alarm that goes off every 3 hours, which reminds me just to take a deep breath, right? Super simple.
Fantastic tip. Oh, what a great tip. Okay. So we are talking about pleasure here. Yes, guys, I hope your littles aren't in the back of the car. You listen to what we said at the beginning. Let's talk about in the bedroom, okay? So we've probably got listeners that have been married for some time, and good on you, girlfriend. How can we make sure we're keeping it exciting behind closed doors?
Absolutely. So I'm a certified erotic blueprint coach. And what that means is, let's start here. I bet many of you, have you heard of the love languages, Susie?
Yes, I'm a military spouse, and sometimes I joke that it's required reading.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So let's go through that real quick because I think it's really a great connection tool, right? For knowing what your partner's love language is. So the idea, of course, behind that is that you know your partner's language so you can speak to them in the language that lands for them, right? Mm-hmm. So my love language is quality time and words of affirmation. Those are like equally tied. What are yours, Susie?
acts of service.
Acts of service. Yes.
But my husband is physical touch.
Oh, yes. Yes. Physical touch is like right below on mine. And it's important. And so let's see, what's the other one we haven't mentioned? Gifts, isn't it? The other one,
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, right. So this is really just a lens for us to help know how we can connect with our partner. So imagine now for a moment, if you could, that there's a language in the bedroom for how you can connect sexually with your partner. How cool would that be to know what your partner's language is, right?
Absolutely.
So that is what the erotic blueprints are. So they're basically 5 languages for what I call your turn on and what your pleasure is. So I'm just going to give them real kind of high level overview here just to give people a sense for what they are. Sounds good?
Sounds great.
Okay, so the first type is what we call energetic. Energetics are the ones that really love a long warm-up time. They like to be teased. They like to have things a little bit more slow. So like I often say for those who have a partner who's an energetic, like start warming them up with some sexy, like texts like, hey babe, I can't wait to see you naked tomorrow night or something like that, right? So they require a little bit more longer, and I'm not just talking foreplay here, but just even like a couple of days beforehand. They love the tease and the longing. So that's an energetic. And the second type is called a sensual. Sensuals love to have their senses turned on. So they're the type that might like candles. They might love it if their partner runs a bath for them, maybe sprinkles a little bit of essential oils in it. They're the ones that also can get distracted. Like if there's dirty underwear or socks on the floor, they'll be like, oh my God, like, can we just get that cleaned up? Those are sensuals. They love the sight, sound, and smell. They love like a grounding touch. They like to be squeezed. The third type is a sexual. And those types just love to go for it. They're what I call the 0 to 60ers. They're like, babe, let's just get it on, like right now, and let's just go for the big O, right?
Now, I have to interject here, and this would be outside of like child constraints, right? Because some moms, maybe they are, right, like sensual, but they have to go 0 to 60.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of my fortes is helping moms get really creative of how they can set themselves up to be fed in their blueprint. And that takes sometimes a lot of creativity when you got youngins, when you got little under 6 like you do, right? 4 of them under 6, right? It takes some creativity, but it's totally possible.
Yeah. All right, tell us the other 2.
Yes. So the other is called a kinky. Now, kinky is someone who likes to do things that might be kind of considered taboo. So for example, taboo can have a wide variety of definitions. So I always love to give the example. So taboo for my gram is like giving my grandpa a kiss in the car in the parking lot. Right? So we all have it. Whereas my taboo might be being blindfolded by my love, So kinky has a broad definition. So it just can be something that may feel kind of different or taboo or against maybe what, the norm might be. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So location, maybe.
Say that again?
Different location than normal, or okay.
Yeah. So maybe, for example, it's a great example. Maybe instead of making love in bed, like you might get it on in the kitchen, right? Of course, with the kiddos at the grandparents' house or something. So that could be really kinky for some.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the fifth type is what we call shapeshifter. And the shapeshifter loves to have a little bit of everything that we've just mentioned. And so they need to have a lot of variety, and they can be the type that tends to get bored easily. And so they just need to have a lot of different ways to kind of come to their turn on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. How fascinating.
Yeah. Isn't it fun?
Yeah, I know you went high level with us, and of course we could go deep, deep, deep with you. Listener, you will either click on the details hyperlink or swipe up, depending on the player that you're in. You're going to be able to go a lot deeper on this with Dee Dee if you would like. Dee Dee, where can folks find you if they do want to go deeper, explore this more in or out of the bedroom?
Oh, thank you for asking. So they can look on my website. It's ddhaeg, HAEG.com. So ddhaeg.com. And that will really give you an overview of some of the different ways I work with couples. I work with moms. I work with single moms. I work with a variety of people. But I love helping people find ways to keep it interesting in the bedroom, because, after 10, 15 years of marriage, sometimes we just need a little infusion of fun and play and permission too.
Well, Dee Dee, you've made me blush a million times, but I'm so glad you came on to talk about this. It's a great thing and certainly a blessing in marriages and in life. Like, this is a great thing to talk about. So thank you so much.
Yeah. It's my firm belief that there's power in our pleasure. And one of the things that I think that moms often neglect is themselves. And when they can reconnect with their pleasure, what I see happen so often is that it opens up more energy for them. Moms usually come to me when they're overwhelmed and they're tired and they're like, yo, Dee Dee, I got a to-do list. Like, how am I supposed to have more fun? And when they can connect with their pleasure, they usually find what I call that juice that helps them feel more nourished so that they can not necessarily do more, but feel more filled up instead of drained all the time.
Dee Dee, thank you so much for coming on the show. Listener, again, I want to remind you, all of Dee Dee's information is in the show notes. All you got to do is click details or swipe up in the player you're in.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Hey, Run Lift Mom listeners, you know I'm the mom of 4 kids under age 5, and therefore I am always looking for ways to work smart, not hard. Anchor is the smartest way to make a podcast. Let me tell you why. First of all, there are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, but Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you, so then it can be heard on places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a whole lot more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It is quite literally everything you need all in one place. And y'all, it's free. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Even though this is a presidential election, there are many more candidates on the ballot besides the president. Go to Ballot Ready for a nonpartisan guide to your entire ballot. From there, you can compare candidates based on stances on issues, biography, or endorsements, and save your choices to use when you vote by mail or in the voting booth. You can even request your absentee ballot or make a plan to vote early or on Election Day. This election matters. Make sure you have a plan to vote and stay informed. You can go to ballotready.org and enter your address to make a plan to vote and vote informed.
Thank you for listening to One Lift Mom. This show